You when you talk, you can definitely see it a little more when you talk.
Oh, I know. This is why it's going to be. I look like liver lips from a girl. Welcome to another Believe Vacations video interview series. My name is Brian Pavlick, and a wise man once said, good friends will FaceTime you and check up on your family every once in a while. Great friends know your snoring habits and buy you Haunted Mansion underwear. And that's why I have great friends with me tonight. You will see the name Ashley Holland up on your screen, but she is joined by Kyle. You remember Kyle. Kyle was the first one when we did these interviews back in January. He was numero uno. And then we got the wife involved. Kids, how are you tonight?
We're doing great. How are you?
Good. They know it. They are some of our best friends in life, and it is always just such a fun time to talk to them, whether it is we catch up with each other's families or we actually go on vacation and share a room together. Those stories will remain behind the scenes because, you know, some of them we may get kicked off Zoom for. But the Hollands, the Hollands, among other things, are famous for being our pin trading experts. Now, I was a novice to pin trading back in January when I first met the Hollands in person, but they showed us a whole new world in our magic carpet singing Aladdin and Jasmine on it. And pin trading rocks, y'all, and they are going to talk all about pin trading tonight. But first, before we begin, you met Kyle. It's time to meet the missus. Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you guys are, and then just tell us a little bit about your Believe Vacation journey, if you do not mind, dear.
We are from Houston, and Kyle joined Believe, 3 or 4 years ago?
4+, yeah.
And probably 4 years ago. And I have always been behind the scenes, kind of helping out a little bit. And then last year, I just decided I was just going to jump in, and we're a team now, and I help him out, and we tag team and do all the fun stuff together. So it's a lot of fun getting to get together now.
Well, let's be real. She does most of the work.
Of course. I've seen it. I've seen it in person. She does do all the work, and she's amazing and knows a lot of secrets. And Kyle knows
I like to tell people I'm kind of like the sales manager, the marketing manager, and she's like the operations manager.
It's true. It's true.
Accurate description of you guys, actually. Very good. All right, let's jump into this because pin trading has been around for a while now, and the Hollands have been doing it for a while now. But let's start basic before we get into y'all's personal journey with this stuff. Just overall, what is pin trading and why, I guess, does it happen at Disney? Either one of you guys can answer tonight. What is pin trading?
So pin trading, I guess everybody's kind of familiar with a standard lapel pin, and here I will show you a pin.
We're showing the goods tonight, folks. Yes.
We have multiple pins. Pins such as these, if I can show them right. Pins for purchase, for trade, for buy, for sell, for fun, for recreation, for any use of things. So those are pins that you've seen sold at anywhere. Baseball games, basketball games, Disney World, among other things, right? The term pin trading involves obviously the exchange of a pin with either a cast member at Disney World, another guest at Disney World, or on a pin board, which we'll touch on later. Yes. So those are pins, and pin trading, I don't know that it necessarily started at Disney World. I've heard several people collecting pins, you know. I've done that before, where if I go to a different baseball park, baseball stadium, football stadium, you know, collect a pin. It's an easy keepsake from, you know, vacation or another trip. But at Disney, you know, they sell pins certainly, but trading is something that people have gotten into. Pre-COVID, all cast members would wear a lanyard. And I say all cast members at retail locations. Yes. So cast members would have a lanyard or a small satchel of pins and available for guests to trade. Ashley will model a pin lanyard on someone's neck. So the cast members are wearing lanyards. Guests also have their lanyards and would go up to a cast member, ask to see their pins. That's proper pin etiquette is, may I see your pins? Cast member will show their pins. if a guest wants to take a pin, you're looking at me like I'm kind of crazy.
It's kind of a personal question. May I see your pins?
It is. And it can be a little unnerving at first because you're
Yes.
like that guy just, she has an adult trading pins. Most of the time it's kids trading pins. But when the grown-ups do it, I always feel like I'm going to get a side eye from somebody. But all the cast members humor me very well. So I'm appreciative to all cast members who pin trade with me. Anyway, when you ask, they're always very polite. Absolutely. And they'll show you. And even if some people feel obligated to trade a pin, but you don't have to. If you don't see anything you like on the lanyard, you don't have to trade with the cast member. But a cast member does have to trade with you if you see a pin you like. So that's kind of rule number one is no cast member can say no. But then also the guest does not have to make a trade. So if you see a pin you like, you would say, oh, I will take that Aurora pin, please. Cast member will take the pin off their lanyard. Guest will take a pin off of their lanyard. And you will swap one pin for one pin always with a cast member. No 2-for-1s, none of that. 1-for-1, all pins at Disney have equal value. So something very important to keep in mind, no matter how expensive the pin, it's still worth one pin. So when you're trading, yes. So that's the act of pin trading at its simplest form. We can get into some of the more,
No, that is a great overview. My kids, you guys had them psyched when they went. Addison loved doing it, but the boys, they just, every place we had to stop. The fact that, you heard my story where Luke he thought it was the NFL draft. For my first pick, I select, dramatic pause, Mickey. Yeah, everybody went crazy. And then for my second pick, it was fun. And we'll talk more about what they are doing now post-COVID and all that. But Ashley, and I never asked you guys this story. I feel embarrassed because we've been friends for a while now. Who was the Disney lover first? And you guys met in college, but okay.
It was Kyle.
All right.
It took me, I guess I had been 2 times in my life. And then our first trip together was in 2009 when we were still in college.
Okay.
And then
I've been basically every year growing up, sometimes twice a year. So
we talked about that with the value resorts, your love for those different resorts. And Kyle, did you start pin trading when you were young?
So it's kind of funny. I didn't actually. As many times as we've been, we had seen people trading and seen pins for purchase. And I actually got into it in probably 07 or 08, not even trading, but just buying pins.
Yeah.
And so I bought a 2007 pin, I think, or 2008 pin, because it was, and we can get to this later, I always buy the year I go and the resort I stay at if I haven't stayed there before. So I have collections of pins that I've purchased in addition to my trading pins. But, I couldn't justify it because pins are so expensive. If you pay $8 to $10 to $12 to $15 for a pin, the last thing you want to do is go trade it, because if you buy a pin, you bought a pin you like. Why do I want to trade that for another pin? So pin trading at first didn't make sense to me. So it took me, in 2008, it took me, 20 some odd years of going to Disney to figure out about buying pins. And then it took me another almost 10 years to discover trading pins. So my uncle actually was the one that kind of got me in on it. He, told me that you can go online, and there's various places online that you can buy pins from outside of Disney. They're authorized, legitimate Disney trading pins, but they're much cheaper than they are at the parks. They're anywhere from 50 cents to $2 a pin in bundles to trade, rather than the $8 to $10 to $12 you buy at the parks. And so obviously if I'm spending $1 a pin, 50 cents a pin, it's much easier to stomach trading that pin than if I pay $8 to $10 for it. So when he got me onto that, it was 2016 was my first trip that I actually took pins with me. And I think I bought a lot of I bought 25 pins. I thought, surely, I'm at the parks for 5 days. I'm going to trade 5 pins a day. 25 will be a problem. No problem. And I probably traded through 25 pins in my first day.
Easily.
Because you're just so overwhelmed. You don't have a collection or anything. Like when you're just getting started, almost every pin you look at is a cool pin, because you see collections and you see fancy pins and you just want them all. And then so you realize, I remember I traded through probably 25 pins my first day and thought, I'm going to take them with me, but I'm not going to trade anymore. And then you see ones, it's like, oh, I like that one way better than this one. And then you just keep cycling through them. And so by the end of the trip, the 25 that I had traded for on the first day, I had traded them all back and gotten 25 new ones several times over. So I didn't get into the trading aspect of pin trading until probably 2016.
But
So-
now you have, dare I say, well over 300 pins. Inside jokes, folks.
Few.
I told you.
Just
Okay.
a few over 300.
Hey, Ashley, switch over. So he told us about how to get the pins and stuff. You know, that's how you guys advised us. Maybe just go online, buy a big bag. And as you guys said, just because you bought them cheaper online, one pin is the same value in your on your lanyard as in the Disney parks and stuff like that. Ashley, when you guys get ready to go for a trip, how are you packing? Are you purposely looking for ones that you want to trade? Are you looking for, are you bringing how many are you bringing? Kind of go through just getting ready to go to Disney World, Ashley, if you don't mind, about how you're packing, pin packing, if you don't mind.
We each have our lanyards that we have full of trading pins that we bring with us to the parks. And then we have Ziploc bags full of anywhere from 100 to 200 trading pins that we bring with us, along with extra Ziploc bags that we'll put what we call our keepers in. We have our traders, and then we put our keepers in. So at the end of each day, we'll take them off of our lanyards and put them in the keeper bag, so we don't trade them again the next day.
Yeah.
And so we bring all of our traders in the Ziploc bag with us. And then we generally don't bring our binders or anything like that with us to the parks. We take pictures of them on our phones. And so we have updated pictures of our pins on our phones, so that way we can just scroll through real quick and be like, hey, I think hold on, let me see if I have that one really quick.
Gotcha. Very smart.
That one. And so that way it's really easy to know what we have and what we don't have.
That's very cool. So we have prepared, we have bought some, whether it was online or whatever, and then we get to the parks. And Kyle, you were mentioning, you know, we do have in the past where you could do it with the characters. We obviously didn't get that experience because we've only been doing it in these post-COVID days. So now each gift shop we know and several locations throughout all the parks have these pin boards. So briefly, just tell us a little bit, Ashley or Kyle, whichever one wants to go here. How does it work now where you go to these locations? We don't have to talk about every location, but let's just say the one in the Beach Club gift shop. Okay, we show up because that's where I got introduced really, and we had some good ones there. You show up to the counter, and what's the conversation you have?
So the main difference between pre-COVID and post-COVID is the cast members are no longer wearing lanyards. So they've basically done that to eliminate or minimize the person-to-person interaction while pin trading. So the pin boards have actually been a thing throughout pin trading. So even previously, in addition to the cast members with lanyards, various gift shops, all the hotel lobbies, all the hotel gift shops had pin boards as well.
There are just more of them.
Yeah, there are more of them throughout the parks, and some of them at the gift shops are bigger at the resorts. So all the focus has shifted to be pin boards rather than lanyards. So they were around before. They're the only way to do it now. The process for pin trading currently as it stands, and this, I'm going to say this with, you know, a slight variation depending on the level of cast member location and their comfortability and their protocols, but the proper procedure is identifying the pin that you wish to trade for on the board. Cast member will remove the pin from the board and place it on the table. You will then take your pin off of your lanyard and drop it into a bucket to be sanitized at a later time. Once the cast member sanitizes the pins in the buckets and replaces them on the board, that's kind of the process. So it's eliminating that hand-to-hand, touch-to-touch. It's a clean pin on the board that you're grabbing or they're grabbing for you, and then you're putting your pin into the bucket to be sanitized.
Perfect. Yep.
Used to be you take it off and you put it back on and you go about your business. But now you put it in the bucket. So that way I'm not putting a pin on and then Kyle's coming up and touching the pin that I just touched and all that stuff. So generally the pins on the board are clean pins that have all been wiped down now. So.
And so some of the things that are kind of the same is there's a limit of 2 pins per person per visit, depending on the cast member, per day, per transaction, per visit to the board, right? So I can't go trade all 10 pins on my lanyard for 10 pins on the board. Now, if I have a spouse or kids or somebody else with me, between the two of us, we get 4. So even if Ashley takes 1, we get a total of 4 off the board or from a cast member. So that's kind of the limit there. And then some of the interesting things about the pin boards, both now and pre-COVID, is, throughout the parks, the majority of the pin boards are out all day. You just have to ask for them. So they're behind a register, not always visible. So sometimes you need to know the locations, which most parks will tell you, okay, at Hollywood Studios, here's a map with the locations circled. Generally, there's one in each land throughout the Pacific Park, whether that's, in Magic Kingdom, Hollywood, or, Animal Kingdom in the different areas. But generally, they're there. You just have to ask for them. It's at this register somewhere in the Emporium.
Yeah.
This cast member, Mr. Cast member, where's the pin board? Go find it. Some of them at some of the resorts only come out at certain times of the day.
I noticed that at Beach Club. Or Yacht Club, actually.
Yacht Club, 'cause I think they were sharing a board.
At the time, they were
going back and forth, and so it wasn't at either place all day.
And so some of them, like I know Polynesian used to have a pin board of
like the one
200 pins. It was like the one at Caribbean, but bigger.
Caribbean Beach was huge.
Poly had one twice that big.
And it opens up, and
and they would refresh it every day. So that's not all pin boards get refreshed every day or consistently. So sometimes you could go to the same pin board and it's not as good quality pins.
Right.
But this Polynesian pin board at one time only came out for 30 minutes a day. Came out from 5 to 5:30 or 6 to 6, or a random 30-minute period throughout the evening. You didn't know when. And if you just happened to catch it, it was like pin trading jackpot to get this pin board. Some of the boards are like that. We saw that at Yacht Club, Beach Club. They vary, so they're not all out all the time.
Well, the two others that I really like, you mentioned, my personal favorite was Caribbean, just because it was so huge, had the large selection. Most of them have about 20 to 25 or so. I like at the Pirates of the Caribbean gift shop, they have the sword where they've got the pins, and I didn't realize it was double-sided.
Yeah.
Because Luke was looking at it and then he flipped it over. So sometimes they're creative like that. The other one that I really enjoy are the mystery boxes. Now that could be, hit or miss there, literally.
Yeah.
But those are the ones you don't like them, Kyle.
Yeah.
Those are the ones where you just got to kind of pick a box and he'll open it up, or the cast member will open up, and there it is. And what I've learned is if the box can't shut all the way,
that's a
it's
big
a good
pin.
pin. So take number 4. It's a big one. 18.
You are learning, my young Padawan.
Yep.
Give me a pin. 4, please. Yeah. So
the Tatooine Traders, their pin board is an old popcorn bucket. It's a Millennium Falcon, and it closes. And so it's up there, but you can't see the pins unless you know that they're in there and you ask to see it. And then they open it up and you can see the pins in there.
It really is. It's an addictive little addition to a vacation. And it's almost like Christmas morning where you go up and you say, oh, what do they have? And this brings us to another question. When you go, are you guys looking for rare? Are you looking to complete sets? What's kind of the mindset as you approach it? Or it could just be, if I just see one, I see one.
It kind of depends. I have two kind of different things that I look for. My first thing is Goofy. He's my favorite character, and I have over 100 Goofy pins.
Well over 100.
Well over 100. And then I've also started collecting villains. And so I have a couple villains sets that I'm trying to finish. And so those are sets, but they're villains. But pretty much anything, if it has Goofy on it, I'm probably going to pick it up.
That's cool. So, what about you, Kyle? You're a Stitch guy, I know.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. So the general answer is both, right?
Right.
I always like flashy pins, good pins. I say all pins have the same value, but let's be real. We can spot a $15 pin on a pin board over the $2 pin that somebody traded. Right. So if somebody, because while I was not a fan of buying a $15 pin and then trading it, there are plenty of people, for whatever reason, that like to do that. And so I always like to be, or they don't know, I always like to be the one that takes advantage of that.
Yeah, you have to. It's fine.
If I see a $15 pin on the board, it could, I don't care what character it is. I know it's $15 and I'm going to take it for my collection. And so I kind of say that flashy, big, if it's got chains and danglies and it opens and close, if it's something like that, it's like, ooh, shiny object, I want it. So I'm all about that. But I also have, like you said, characters. So I've got Stitch, Figment is my guy too. Mike and Sully, Woody and Buzz, you know, Lion King. So I've got several of those where you pick a movie or I want Pixar, and you just kind of gather those. And, you know, it's kind of a slippery slope, right? You start off wanting, I just have my 2 characters. Like, you know, a couple years ago, all she wanted was Goofy. There was nothing but Goofy. Villains? No, she passed the villain pins like crazy. Well, now she got the villain pins going. And so once you get it, it's like, now it's going to be something different. It's like, well,
just got to keep going back, Ashley.
you're gonna find something else, you know. No, so another thing that we have, there are plenty of collections, and there's a different couple kind of collections, and I might be jumping ahead some of your questions.
Please, no, go ahead.
So when you purchase pins at the park, you can buy mystery pack sets of pins. And so
yes, the mystery pack.
A mystery pack is, you know, a set of, it's usually 15 to 20 in a set, and you buy a pack of 5 pins. And so for $30, you can get 5 pins. So that's $6 a pin, not as bad as your single pins, right? And so what it's intended to do is if you were to buy, you know, a bunch of these multi-packs, the thought is that eventually you would get the set of 20. But if you buy 2 packs, you're going to have some duplicates. So you trade your duplicates to try to get more. And so we've seen that a lot because, and I've done this before where I'll buy a multi-pack, and then if I have them, if I don't have them, I'll keep them. And if I do have them, I'll trade them. And so, you know, that's an option for finding those collections, is knowing what you can buy at the various gift shops. So here, we'll show you, should we show pins, I guess?
Yes, let's show a look. Look at these binders, folks. They have 9 full binders, and you can see how they've organized them. Look, oh, gross.
So yeah, 2 kids, most of mine, and Ashley's couples. So if you look here, these popsicles, so that's a mystery set. And so you buy those, you buy those in a pack of 5, and you might get Goofy in one set of 5, and then you'll get Goofy again in the next set of 5. And so if you get him twice, then you're going to trade him, obviously.
Or you're going to keep 2 like me because you need it for your Goofy collection too.
Dual purpose. And so, you know, those mystery packs are good collections to find because you're always going to see popsicles floating around. There's donuts, there's, you know, superheroes, there's all kinds of neat little mystery packs that you'll inevitably find at pin boards because people are buying them to collect them and trading the ones they get duplicates of.
Right.
Another neat collection is hidden Mickey collections, hidden Mickey pins. And so if you see a little Mickey ear logo on your pins,
I don't know if you can see it.
It's down there at the bottom, that silver right up the top.
That little teapot there.
So hidden Mickey pins used to be called cast member exclusive pins. And so what they would do is they would distribute them only to the cast members who had their lanyards. And so the only way you could get a hidden Mickey pin, you can't buy hidden Mickey pins. You could only trade for them. And so you would have, they would publish a list of collections, and it might be, you know, 5 characters from the Lion King in the shape of a lion's paw, you know, with their image. And so there's one there. Or it could be Disney sidekicks, you know, so you've got all the various sidekicks in a different image looking. And so those hidden Mickey pins have been around since, gosh, I think I've seen them as early as 2011. So they've been around for a long time. So you can find those hidden Mickey pins that they release probably 5 to 6 sets of different collections 2 to 3 times a year. And so you'll always see those in circulation as well. And so if you see, oh, you know, there's a Country Bear Jamboree hidden Mickey set that, you know, of course we had to get that.
Gotta get it.
I mean, why not?
But they're also different between Disney World and Disneyland. So you have to be careful because you could think, oh, I got this super great pin. And then you're like, oh, that's Disneyland. That's going to be much more difficult for me to get.
Right. So
it's like looking at the photo album of the kids. This is one, I love this.
So these are some of the hidden Mickey collections. I don't know if you can kind of see with the glare.
There we go.
So they've got ribbons. They've got ribbons, Fab Five, princesses, dog houses, original attractions. There's our Country Bears down at the bottom, of course.
Love them.
You know, pixel characters up at the top. So these are, you know, hidden Mickey collections. I'm trying to think if I have any more. No, not really. Here's some more. So our hidden Mickey collections are a good one to get. You know, you can find those, you know, little character presents here.
The sidekicks are at the bottom.
Yep, sidekicks at the bottom. So just plenty of options from the hidden meat.
Absolutely. I mean, and again, this is something where, you know, if you get your family involved, you know, the kids, my kids loved it. I will forever love you guys for introducing it to us, because it was, hey, you know, okay, good example. The park opens 30 minutes prior, but it doesn't really open to the rides. It just kind of opens to shops and sites. And, you know, sometimes they'll let you go on ahead a little bit. But in Magic Kingdom, for whatever reason, they're always so strict. You know, 9 o'clock, then you go. But we spent...
And you got a mosey.
We spent a little bit of that time going to that one over by the hat embroidery store.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went right over to the Emporium. And we hit those two boards. And before you knew it, the kids had found, because it was first thing in the morning, they had restocked them. They found some good ones first thing in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great time to hit the pin boards, is in the morning. They don't always refresh them, but most of the time, if they're going to refresh, it's going to be at the end of the day. So it might be every couple days, but if you go into the parks often enough, you know, you check that. Always another kind of tip is, if you're at your hotel, check your pin board at your hotel, both in the lobby and at the gift shop, multiple times a day, right? Check it when you leave for the parks if they're open. Check it when you get back from the parks. Check it, you know, before you go to bed. Check it because... And I've had some really magical moments pin trading at the resorts where you kind of make a connection with a cast member that kind of has something to, you know, they have I won't say necessarily a passion for pin trading, but they know, you know, they have a passion for giving magical moments to people. And so if they see you're the same person walking up, I had a cast member, you know, that was asking me, you know, what are you looking for? And I had a couple of pins that I was looking for, and I told him, and he goes, okay, I'll keep an eye out for you. And then I got home the next night, you know, and he said, hey, come over here. And he took me to the back and he goes, you need this one? And he had traded off of the pin board. So when a guest put it on the pin board or on his lanyard, he pulled it aside and traded it with me later on. I've had ladies at the gift shop where they see me and they're, you know, we're talking about it, you know, oh, I'm leaving today. You know, it's really sad. And she goes, well, did you get the good pins you wanted? I said, I got a few, but not that bad. She goes, come with me. Let's go to the back registry. Brings out a 12-inch by 12-inch cube.
It was huge.
Full of pins, and dumps it on the counter.
Like Legos.
Like
All
Legos.
the restock pins. And
Yes.
she was like,
And she
let's
goes,
see what we can find.
let's look and see what we can
And
find
she
for
just
you
started
guys.
looking.
And we spent an hour searching
We were
through
just like,
pins.
okay.
And I probably, you know, and I was like, I mean, if I'm only going to trade two, I don't know how the heck I'm going to pick two.
For my first pick.
And I was like, I kind of said that. I said, do I, you know, man, it's going to be hard to pick two. She goes, oh, don't worry about the two. Well, it'll be okay. And so I'm going like, okay, well now I've got 20 pins that I would love, but I've only got 15 to trade. So there's my next problem. And then at the end I was like, well, I better pick 15. That's all I have. And she goes, enjoy the rest of your trade. And she just like slid them across the table to me. Free pins.
Just to you guys, that's like fast pass, old paper system.
You know, that's the most magical moment. You know, we
Oh,
could
I
go.
cry.
So I say that to always, you know, even though sometimes it seems awkward to approach a cast member, now that, you know, if they don't have masks on, you can bond with them, make contact with a nice smile, make eye contact, and really establish that connection to cast members you're going to see frequently at a gift shop. You know, one works the morning shift, one works the night shift, and you're going to get a bond with one of them. You never know what you're going to get with a smile and some eye contact.
That story kind of ties me into my final questions for you guys tonight, and I hope everybody's seeing the path. This is so much fun because it's just a quirky side of Disney that's so fun, and it's so addictive. I don't know why we got so obsessed with it. You guys are to blame, but it was fun. It really was. Do you have a favorite pin, or is that like picking children? Now, I bridged the stories here between your prior story about cast members and my favorite pin. And I think it was, and you remember because when we went July last year, you know, the parks had just reopened. We were one of the first people to check back into Caribbean Beach. And you called me, you said, check that pin board. And I was like, what does that mean? And when we checked in, the general manager or whatever her title is, that cast member, she saw my 3 children and she said, I have a gift for you. And she went to the back and she pulled out a big honking Skyliner pin and said, we're just so happy to have people back. And so is that's the one right there. And so we have 3 of those, and those will be my favorites. 1, they were our first ones, and 2, it was a welcome back to Disney kind of moment.
Yeah.
So again,
Yeah.
that's us. We're novices.
Memories.
But do you guys have a favorite one that it's like it will never be given up, or is it just at this point, no, it will complete a set and it can go away real quick?
I don't know. I like the dinosaur one.
Dinosaur Animal Kingdom?
Yeah. So we have a cast member that we have a really great connection with at Caribbean Beach. His name's David. And he is a super big pin trader. And he has his like special pins that he
has the one mystery box that I love going
yeah.
to.
Oh, you like that one? Okay.
I don't like mystery boxes because if I don't want to trade, I don't really want to make a trade. And I want to see what I want. And if they did mystery boxes like David's, where they were always containing really good pins,
David knows.
then I'd love it. And so David has this mystery box, and he keeps it for, he started off saying kids, and then he shifted to say passionate, overly ridiculous pin trading adults.
Hollands, that's fine.
I don't know who that could possibly be.
Anyway, so when we stayed at Caribbean for, I guess it was our first time staying at Caribbean.
Yep.
And, you know, we would go and trade. They had a pin sword at the front register and the pin chest at the back register. And they would say, oh, well, if you guys, you know, after like our second time visiting, they said, have you guys talked to David? I'm like, no, who's David? And so we went to the back register, and David was there and shared with us. You know, like I said, about 2 days in, he kind of realized, he was like, you guys want to play my game? And we're like, sure. You know, and he was like,
Saw movies start like that too. Be careful.
So his is only one trade per occurrence. And it's usually per trip, right? But he bent it a little bit for us. And so he gave us, you know, pick a number. And so every day we got to pick a number, and he would load the boxes based on what he knew we wanted after the couple days of the trip.
And he took out, he was like, you know, I really think you like this one, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, that one. Mm-hmm.
So she got a good one from him.
This one was when we went with the kids.
So we've gone back to, every time we go back to Caribbean, we try to say hi to David and find him and just connect. So
It's huge too.
Yeah, it's got dinosaur, and then it's got Goofy and Mickey. That's
like
one
it.
of my favorite ones.
So I guess on that note, since we brought up David and our experiences with him, like I said, we go back and try to find him, and we'll ask about him, and
he remembers
us every time. I guess there's not too many adults that go without their children and wear matching shirts all the time. But anyway,
when we brought the kids, and he got to meet the kids,
he did.
and so that was a lot of fun.
It is. It's introducing people to family. It really is.
But he in his mystery box, he loaded this mystery box for me. So I was he had stickers of Peter Pan characters on all of his boxes, and so you pointed to the sticker of whoever you wanted, and I was picking Mr. Smee every time. There were 2 Mr. Smee boxes, and I picked Mr. Smee, you know, for like 3-4 days in a row, and then on the last day, I was like, which one should I pick? And he goes, you always pick Mr. Smee. I was like, okay, I'll pick Mr. Smee. And I opened it, and it was an Up pin of Carl and Ellie from Up. And he goes, flip it over and look on the back. And there was a little AP etched into the back of this pin. And he told me that means artist proof. And so what happens is when the pins get made into circulation, the artist designs the pin and sends it off. And they print he's designed it, they send it to the factory, they print the pin.
They print one.
They print one pin and mail it back to the artist. And the artist either goes, all right, I like it, print it, make it, or no,
I don't like it.
No, I don't want it.
We're not going to make that pin.
We're not going to make that pin. And so this artist proof pin was the only one that the artist rejected, and it never got put into circulation.
It was
so I have the only pin of that. And that's so rare, because even the limited editions are of a couple hundred or a couple thousand or whatever. And so I have the only pin that's not even in circulation. I don't know how he got a hold of it, but he gave it to me.
The honest Wagner of pins. I can't believe it. I'm talking to him.
So that's my special pin.
Yep.
Because it has a cool story with a cool memory that we, still take advantage of when we go back and not take advantage, but
for Memory Day.
We enjoy it. Yeah.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Well, and as we close here, if you're not into the trading part, if you think that's just a hassle or, the anxiety of it, it gets a little, oh God, what if I don't find it? Or oh, what if I trade this one away? That was Luke.
Or walking up to the cast members can be intimidating too, like Kyle said. I mean,
Absolutely.
especially like if you're not buying something, like that's my whole thing is like walking into a store and then like
Leaving.
He's like, hey, go check the pin board. And I'm like, but I'm not.
It's like going to the bathroom in a gas station without filling up. I get it. It's
so you walk up there and you're like, can I see the pins? Okay, thanks, bye. And then, but
the more you do it, you get an eye for what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So
well, and that's the thing. I mean, you get an eye and then you start looking for ones to keep at home. And that's where the Pavlicks kind of are. We have ours to trade now, but we also have our collectors that are not tradable. And as we've been advised, we get a pin for every resort we've stayed at. So we have those pins and they'll go up on our own little, not Holland level pin board, but it is our special pin board. And then we let the kids, if they have some ones that they think deserve to be on the pin board. And then we have our good friend Eric, who buys rides those pins, and he goes to the extreme example because he's special. And he says, I cannot buy a pin from that ride unless it's in that gift shop. And you can go that route. And God bless Eric, and I hope he's watching, and we love him.
I think he's adjusted his pin trading requirements since
yeah. So we have
he's
all
shifting.
kinds.
He's growing as well.
He is. We have all kinds, but the Hollands obviously.
You bring up a good point. You bring up a good point that if trading's not your style, I wish I had started it sooner and collected sooner. I mean, since I've been coming my whole life, and we got the kids started right early. Their first trip, they got a first trip pin. They got the year. I think the year you go is really special because if you go, you want to love to know all the different years you went. So that if something impactful happens, it's an anniversary year or something. I was there in 2021. I was there in 2019. You can document that. Like you said, resorts you stay at, special events. If you're a pass holder, always ask for pass holder pins. They have a bunch of limited edition pass holder pins. That's one of our favorite things to do is see, okay, what limited edition pins are there? Some of them are limited edition 3,000, 2,000, 1,000. There's all different kinds of exclusive pins. And finding those can be really fun too. Even if you're buying them, you do spend a little bit more for those. But if you're a collector like I am, that's part of it too, right? You can get your collection by buying some. You can get your collection by trading for them. There's pins for all kinds of events. Ashley,
festival pins.
The festival pins.
Run Disney has pins. Those are some of my favorites also. The ones that you can only buy at the expo that say I did it for the races because you signed up for the race. So you get to buy the I did it pin.
Another one that baffles me that people would buy the I did it pin and then trade it.
Or like I
have several of them, but I have never run a marathon.
The Run Disney pins are like, they open up, they're like $20 a pin and they open and they say, I did it, and they're very fancy. And yeah, he's gotten a few of them off of trading boards because why would you know?
That's how I run my marathons.
Yeah.
With a Diet Coke.
Well, goofy challenges.
Yeah, exactly.
Folks, these are some of my best friends in life, and now you know why they're passionate about these things. They are incredible people, more so than agents. They're great agents as well. I mean, they wouldn't be here for 4-something years if they were not. And, if you need anything, obviously I've run your contact information. If you need anything from pin trading to advice on where to go, hey, rumor has it they know how to make some great table service recommendations throughout Disney World properties. And they know the best places to sit down and take a load off or whatever. So I've used their services for that too. Inside joke number 4. I'm counting.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But they obviously have a passion for this company, for their clients, and for pin trading. So if you need anything, please go to them. Guys, it was such a pleasure. I always love talking to you. I'm sure we'll talk again real soon. Thank you so much for your time. For everybody else, thank you. And we will see you real soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
I don't want to be a big head no more. I just met a nurse that I do go for. I don't want to be a big head no more. I just met a nurse that I do go for.
So we get in there, and Matea makes the observation. She's like, this thing is hauling. And I guess just to get more
Right.
people through, because it's like, our tour begins here, and then here, and I'll see you a little later. And it's just like, what?
I have never been.
You think they sped it up?
It went quick.
That's
It's very
That's
disappointing.
awesome.
I guarantee you, if you timed it normally, like with no wait as compared to what we did, they sped it up. Had to have.
interesting.
Because we zipped through that attic.
Like I didn't even really see a whole lot of
And we only got
The
to
dinner
half
party.
of Madame Leona's speech.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, falling backwards is like, whoa!
the personality.
It's Everest.